In the quiet town of Willowbrook, where the wind carried secrets and the trees whispered forgotten tales, lived two souls who had never spoken. Alara, a girl with a heart full of music but no one to share it with, and Oliver, a boy who carried melodies in his soul but feared the world might not understand them. Alara lived with her grandmother in a small cottage at the edge of town. Her parents, both musicians, had passed away when she was young, leaving behind only their instruments and a silence that echoed louder than any song. She spent her days strumming her mother's old guitar, her fingers tracing the worn frets. But the music felt hollow without someone to hear it. Oliver, on the other hand, lived just a few houses down, but he might as well have been a world away. Shy and soft-spoken, he had been teased as a child for his love of music. "Music is for dreamers," the other children had said, and so he had learned to play his wooden flute only when the world was asleep, his melodies drifting into the night like secrets. One crisp autumn afternoon, as golden leaves swirled in the wind, Alara wandered into the town's antique shop. The shopkeeper, an elderly man with kind eyes, nodded as she browsed the cluttered shelves. In the attic, tucked beneath a dusty velvet cloth, she found it, a music box. It was exquisite, carved from deep mahogany with silver etchings of swirling stars and crescent moons. But when she turned the key, no sound came out. "It's broken," the shopkeeper said, his voice tinged with regret. "But perhaps it's waiting for the right hands to fix it." That evening, Alara took the music box to the willow tree in the town square, where she often sat alone. To her surprise, Oliver was already there, his flute resting in his hands. He was playing a soft, haunting tune, one that seemed to echo the loneliness she felt in her own heart. Their eyes met, and for the first time, Alara saw someone who understood the silence she carried. "That's beautiful," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the rustling leaves. Oliver flushed, his fingers fumbling on the flute. I didn't think anyone was listening." Alara hesitated, then held out the music box. "I found this today, but it doesn't play." Oliver ran his fingers over the carvings, his touch gentle, almost reverent. "Maybe it needs something more?" Tentatively, Alara turned the key again. At the same time, Oliver lifted his flute and played a single clear note. A soft hum stirred within the music box. They exchanged glances, hopeful, excited. Alara strummed her guitar alongside his flute, and suddenly, the music box sprang to life. A melody, sweet and full of wonder, floated into the night air. But more astonishingly, golden wisps of light swirled from the box, forming glowing ribbons that danced like fireflies. The melody grew richer, blending with Oliver's flute and Alara's guitar until the entire town square shimmered with magic. As the final notes lingered in the air, the music box slowly closed itself. Alara and Oliver sat in stunned silence. "It only works when we play together," Oliver murmured. Alara smiled for the first time in a long while. "Maybe we were never meant to play alone." The next day, the townsfolk began to whisper. Some were enchanted by the music, while others were suspicious of the strange golden light. "It's unnatural," one woman muttered. "Music shouldn't have such power." Oliver, overwhelmed by the attention, retreated into himself. "What if they're right?" he asked Alara. "What if this magic is wrong?" Alara shook her head. "The music box chose us for a reason. It's not wrong to share something beautiful." Together, they decided to play again that evening, despite the whispers. As the golden light filled the square, something extraordinary happened. The light touched the townsfolk, softening their hearts. A grumpy old man smiled for the first time in years. A child who had been crying began to laugh. The music was healing them, one note at a time. One day, Alara noticed something new on the music box, a tiny inscription hidden among the stars. It read, "For those who play not with their hands, but with their hearts." Curious, they returned to the antique shop. The shopkeeper smiled knowingly. "That box belonged to a musician long ago," he said. "She was lonely, just like you, until she found her musical soulmate. Together, they created magic. But when he passed away, the box fell silent. It seems it's found its new owners." From that day forward, Alara and Oliver became inseparable. The music box, once silent and forgotten, sang its enchanted melody every evening, filling Willowbrook with music, friendship, and a reminder that some songs, like some friendships, can only be found when two hearts play in harmony. And though the music box eventually faded, its magic lived on in the hearts of the townsfolk, and in the bond between Alara and Oliver, who learned that the greatest melodies are the ones we create together. True magic happens when we open our hearts to others. Sometimes, the missing piece we search for is not a thing, but a friend.